They say no one ever comes back from the swamps of Kolo. The trees there are tall and twisted, and the fog never lifts. Birds stop singing when you step too deep. People say you can hear voices in the mist calling your name in a voice that sounds like someone you love. But they also say something lives there. A girl with silver eyes and a head full of snakes. Her name was Udu. She was not like other children. From the moment she was born, strange things happened. The sky turned gray. Thunder rolled, though. There was no storm. Her mother died giving birth to her. Her father looked into her silver eyes once and ran away screaming. "She is cursed," he cried. "Her eyes shine like whetstones. She is not mine." He left her near the swamp, in a patch of wild grass, under the shadow of trees that watched like old spirits. He thought she would die there. But something else found her first. An old blind woman named Nina lived on the edge of the swamp. She heard the babies cry. When she came closer, she found something strange snakes. Many of them. They had formed a circle around the child, but they didn't bite. They were guarding her, watching her like she was one of their own. Nina picked up the child and held her close. She felt warmth, life, not death. "You're not a curse," she whispered. "You're a secret." She named the girl Udu, which meant hidden one. Nina raised her in a small hut by the water. Udu grew quickly. Her hair was long and black, but strange. It moved sometimes, even when there was no wind. Her eyes were silver like the moon. And at night, when Nina was asleep, Udu would slip into the swamp barefoot. The snakes would come to her green ones, yellow ones, even the deadly black ones. They never bit her. They curled around her arms and legs like jewelry. They listened when she spoke. She could make them dance. There was one snake that followed her everywhere. Great albino python named Oro. His skin was pale white, and his eyes were deep red. He was older than old. He would curl around Udu's body and rest his head on her shoulder. He looked at her like he had known her for 1,000 years. The villagers called her names. "Snake child," they whispered. "Swamp witch." They crossed themselves when she passed. Mothers told their children to stay away. No one spoke to her. No one smiled at her, except Jedi. He was the blacksmith's son, strong, tall, and always laughing. He didn't believe in stories. Said legends were just fear made big. Jedi saw Udu in the market one day. She walked past the crowd, her eyes down, her face quiet. Everyone stepped away from her, but he didn't. He looked at her. Really looked, and what he saw was not a monster, but a girl. A sad, lonely girl. The next day he followed her into the swamp. Udu heard him coming. The snakes heard too. But Oro did not attack. He slid between Jedi's legs, testing him. Did not scream, he did not run. Kay sat on a rock and waited. That night Udu didn't speak, but she came back the next night, and the next. Slowly they began to talk. Jedi brought her roasted yams wrapped in cloth. Udu showed him how to listen to frogs and know if rain was coming. She taught him the names of trees, how to speak to the wind. They laughed. They sat in silence. They told each other stories. Udu had never known kindness before, but with Jedi she felt safe. One night Jedi gave her a small pendant, squaw, from wood shaped like a heart. "It was my mother's," he said. She wore it to keep the storms away. Udu touched it gently and smiled. "Now you carry a part of me," he said. Her eyes sparkled like the swamp water under the moon. But that night 3 boys from the village followed them. They had seen Jedi going into the swamp. They wanted to know what he was hiding. When they saw Udu standing in a clearing, her arms raised, the snakes crawling down from the trees, they didn't see beauty. They didn't see peace. They saw a monster. One of the boys threw a rock. It hit Udu on the forehead. Blood ran down her face. The snakes hissed in panic. Oro reared up, ready to strike, but Udu whispered something, and he stopped. The boys ran back to the village, screaming, "She's a witch!" They cried, "We saw her. She controls snakes. She's cursed." By morning, the whole village was in panic. They came with ropes and fire. They broke down Nena's door. They dragged Udu out by her arms. Nina screamed and begged them to stop, but no one listened. They tied Udu to the sacred tree, the one where they once hung criminals. She didn't fight. She didn't scream. She only looked for Jede. He was there, struggling against the men who held him back. His hands were bloody from fighting, his mouth full of dust from the ground. "I'm sorry," he cried. She looked at him. Her lips moved. "It's not your fault." And then they lit the fire. But the fire didn't rise. Instead, the sky turned black. The air grew heavy. The earth began to tremble. From deep within the swamp, something was coming. They thought fire would burn her. They thought rope would hold her. But they forgot some things belonged to the old gods. And the swamp remembers. Just as the fire touched the hem of her dress, the wind screamed. The flames flickered, then died. The sky turned dark as night, though the sun had not yet set. The earth under their feet shook, and the trees groaned like they were alive. And then she came, out from the deepest part of the swamp, where no man had walked, and returned, stepped, a figure tall as the palm trees. She wore black robes made of torn leaves and snakeskins. Her face was hidden behind a veil of bone and shadow. Her voice did not come from her mouth. It came from everywhere, at once soft, sharp, and made of 100 whispers. Mamaga. Someone whispered in fear. The mother of serpents. The villagers dropped to their knees. Even the brave ones could not stand. Their hearts beat fast. Their mouths tasted dust. They had heard stories about Mamaga, how she ruled the swamp, how she walked with spirits, how she could turn men into frogs with just a breath. Mamaga raised one arm. The fire went out like a candle blown by wind. Then she walked to Ud. She touched the girl's bloody face with a hand covered in black scales. Her snakes bowed low. Oro uncoiled and lifted his head in silence. The forest became still. "Child of the scale," Mamaga said, "do you choose vengeance?" Udo's heart was heavy. She looked at the crowd people who had spat on her throne stones, called her monster. She saw Nina weeping, her blind eyes full of pain. She saw Jede on his knees, blood on his fingers, his face full of love and sorrow. She remembered his gift, the wooden pendant still tied around her neck. Odu closed her eyes. "I choose freedom," she said softly, "not hate." Mamaga tilted her head. Slow hiss escaped from the trees. Then Mamaga smiled, then rise. And Udu changed. Her skin shimmered and peeled like paper, revealing something golden beneath. Her eyes turned bright as the sun, her blood dark as the swamp. The ropes fell away on their own. Her hair rose, a crown of living serpents, small, large, green, white, black, each one hissing in unity. She floated above the tree, light pouring from her skin. The villagers gasped. Some cried. Some tried to crawl away, but the ground wrapped around their ankles with creeping vines. Then Udu spoke. "You called me cursed. You tried to burn me, but I was never yours to destroy." The wind howled. The swamp roared. With a single breath from her mouth, the earth opened. The sacred tree, the rope, and the crowd standing near were swallowed by the mud. The swamp took back what had been hurt. Only one remained, standing, Jide. Udu landed softly beside him. The light around her dimmed, but her form was still glowing. She looked at him, her heart breaking. "Come with me," she said. "To the land of mist and scale. They cannot hurt us there." Jede looked up at her, eyes full of love and tears. He stood slowly, his hands reached out, trembling. "I love you," he said. "But I am only a man. I cannot cross into your world." Udu's face fell. Her snakes quieted. She leaned in, kissed his forehead, and whispered, "Then I will wait." The swamp wind lifted. The fog wrapped around her like a blanket. And with the cry of 1,000 serpents, she vanished into the trees, into the mist. Into legend, the village was never the same. The next morning, the sacred tree was gone. The people who had raised their hands against Udu had vanished. The huts crumbled. The animals left. The forest grew thick, wild, and dangerous. Years passed, and if you walk far enough into the swamp barefoot, brave, with a broken heart, you might find her. A woman with golden eyes standing in a circle of snakes. Her hair moves like rivers. Her voice sounds like old songs. She will ask you no questions. But if your heart is heavy, she will know Dot, and every year on the same night, a man with gray in his hair walks to the edge of the swamp. He carries nothing but a wooden pendant carved like a heart. He stands in silence. He does not speak. He just waits. Some say he waits for her to return. Some say she watches him from the mist, too scared that time has changed him. Others say Mamaga made Udu, her daughter, her most powerful child guardian of the swamp, protector of the broken-hearted. And some say, if you listen carefully at night, you'll hear the whisper of snakes in your dreams, telling you that love, even cursed love, never dies. It only waits.